Hello, all of you fellow Bendy fans, and welcome to I think this is the fifth one? Yeah, the fifth worker audio log from Joey Drew Studios. Now, it's been a while since I made a video, since I've been busy with some stuff, and so I haven't exactly had the time to record any videos, but now's my chance. And I know that I've missed a whole bunch of stuff. Like, for example, Scott's new teaser images for one of the new games, in which I have a feeling that it's probably for the VR one, just because of like all the perspectives. But I'll try to keep myself caught up. Like, I remember seeing it the day the teaser was out, but I just never had the time to make a video. And then this one's been out. This audio log has been out for a while, but I want to try and get through it. I want to try and get as many, but then also TheMeatly even announced his new game, which was like full of little woodland puppets. And I'm excited for that one. Who can't be if they're a fan of TheMeatly? And in which the game was supposed to be called, well, it is called Showdown Bandit. And the game already looks really nice, in which it reminds me of a FNAF kind of thing, probably because of the marionette. But it's still, TheMeatly, from what I'm guessing now, TheMeatly loves making games based off of like old classic style things, because of course Bendy was a 1930s animation studio. Now this one looks like an old puppet show, and it looks really old. I'm wondering if TheMeatly is actually going to be adding in Easter eggs in his Bendy games of this game and of the Showdown Bandit as just like a little Easter egg, and then maybe some Bendy Easter eggs in the Showdown Bandit game. It'd be really silly and also really interesting, because I wonder if the two timelines are related. But enough talking. I'm going to do my usual, and we're going to go through Bertrum's. So I was actually right. Now, I was playing Bendy and Ink Machine today, and I remember that there was another one. I was playing through Chapter 4 and at the very beginning, where you went to the one guy's office with all the taxes. And so there's probably one of him as well, but I really want to see what Bertrum has to say, since I always loved his boss fight. And he was the one who wanted to create Bendyland, and I really thought that Bendyland was a good idea. But let's get on to the video, and I'll talk about it, and I'll talk about my opinion after. So I'll see you after.
A grand idea is one that requires care and attention, a well-calculated understanding between creation and creator. I was told that Mr. Drew hired me to build his park for this very reason. He trusted my eye to craft and design something wondrous and exciting. So why do my notes keep coming back, dripping with his critical red pen? Changes, corrections, questions that a child wouldn't ask. Mr. Drew may consider himself a dreamer, but in the end, he's the man who can see the island, but could never build the boat himself.
So, we got a pretty good amount of new information. It's always good. And there's now been a pattern in which I'm pretty sure all of you guys have noticed now. But immediately, not immediately, every single one of these audio logs, everyone keeps on talking about Joey Drew. So everyone keeps on having second thoughts about him. Because originally, they all think that it's an honor to be hired by the big man Joey himself. But once they get to know him and work at his studio, people are now starting to notice the true side of him, to where he's hiding secrets, always thinking of something bigger, dreaming bigger. And that's where the ink machine comes in. But for some reason, whenever I heard him say the critical red pen, never seen any sort of red in the game. There's no such red. It's always black and yellowish orange. So we never exactly seen the red pen ink. Actually, now that I think about it, once I said the red ink, what if the next game introduces red and creatures of red ink or blue ink? Because there's multiple different colors of ink, if you think about it. But the thing is, actually no. There could be a chance to where there would be a little bit more of a splash of color. So maybe there could be creatures of red. So, for example, there could be like red searchers. But for some reason, I wouldn't exactly see it happening since it's a bright red. Like, unless they make it a dark red to where it's not like super bright cherry red, but more of a dark red, maybe like a wine red, then I can kind of see that. But it almost looks more like blood if you would think about it. Now, I can imagine some characters, like, if they were to have a little bit of red ink mixed in with them. So, for example, a normal searcher, but having a little bit of red ink coming from them. Then maybe that. But I just feel bad for all these people working here. They always, they never get the truth. The truth is always being hidden because that Joey never wants to reveal anything. But, of course, we get the Bendy will return. I keep on wondering what it means, because I know that Bendy and Ink Machine is an infinite time loop. But I'm wondering how Bendy will return. Because everything resets, but the thing is that maybe you finally find it in a different way. Because for example, the game, so if you ever remembered at the very end of the game, where you got to meet Joey, of course, if you remember the calendar, the game's files was only programmed to make it go through every other day, except for this one specific day that was never able to, that you were never able to get. And even on another calendar, that day that would never show up is circled. So maybe that's the time when maybe Bendy and Machine 2 would happen. I'm just trying to figure out how this would work. Because I would have thought that it would have been over. But no, Bendy is coming back. And because I never actually watched Chapter 4 or 5. Well, I kind of did. If you kind of count like seeing screenshots or like quick little snips of video. But that's only because that people don't know how to not spoil things by just not putting in a spoiler warning or just leaving the thumbnail to where it reveals everything, or the name or the title of the video, which makes it really hard. But I would have always thought that Bendy would have ended like he would have ended. And the scary thing that I actually thought was that you would have had to go from the very, very bottom of the studio all the way back up to the very top. And I was thinking that how it would have ended was that while you're heading up, you are chased by Bendy. And the ink is rising up, rooms are flooding slowly. But the thing is that you got Bendy chasing after you. And the miracle stations won't work anymore. And I have a feeling that that wouldn't have worked because that people would have to be running for a long time. They would have to go through everything. It's pretty much going through the chapters, but in reverse. And it would take a long time, especially with how long some of the others. Sure, some of the chapters seem to be just going back and forth. But if you really think about it, chapters 4 and 3 were kind of like a longer thing. And the elevator is broken, so it would take it even longer. You'd have to be going up the stairs, all the way back up. And of course, there'd be other enemies like the fallen ones, the searchers, and everything else. But I'm also wondering how he would even escape from the bottom, because that floors keep on breaking and everything. But apparently Tom and Allison know their way around. Of course, there's still an audio log for Allison, and there's probably going to be one of Henry. Then there was another one, the one guy who always does all the taxes. If you remember that, if you ever remember the instructional sign at the very beginning where it leads you to where each of them are and where each spot is. But that's all for this video, and I'll be trying to upload stuff more often, but it's just that things are getting a little bit busy, and the Fredbear archives, I can't download it exactly. Like, I can download the game, but I can't play it. It won't open. I need some sort of like special server. It's one of those kinds of games to where, like Final Nights in the Joy of Creation story mode, I can download the game through GameJolt, but if I was to try and open them, they're all the same file type. It's a free roam game, so it's bigger, and then of course they all have the same file type, to where I don't have the right softwares to open it. And the only one I do have is Internet Explorer, but we all know that one wouldn't work. Everything else wouldn't even work because it's not an actual software. It's more like just an off application like Notepad. So it really wouldn't make sense. But I'll see you all in the next one. And there's also like other fan games coming out, of course, but I gotta wait on those. And I'm really excited for some of them. But I'll see you all later. See ya.